Welcome to Clarity Currents. I'm Danielle Laura, trusted seer and spiritual advisor. Each week, I share grounded energetic transmissions and insights into the week ahead so you know how to work with the energy rather than in resistance to it and are equipped to create aligned momentum across your business, relationships, health, wealth, spirituality, and legacy. This is Clarity Currents episode for the week of May 18th through the 24th, 2026. Let's dive in. When I tune into the overall energetics of the week, I see a vision of someone standing in front of a mirror and slowly wiping away fog from the glass to reveal their true reflection. And it's really clear for the first time in a long time. This is a week of radical honesty with yourself, where illusions, fantasies, and even old narratives that you've been holding on to about your life are being lovingly released and exposed so that you can release them finally and step into what's actually real and aligned for you. I also hear the phrase, trust the quiet voice. That subtle inner knowing that's been whispering to you for weeks or maybe even months is going to get loud this week. And the invitation is to finally listen to it. There's also duality to this week, this deep emotional sensitivity paired with this bold breakthrough energy. The medicine is joy. The remedy in all of this is courage, and the reward of that is alignment. Expect vivid, sudden insights and moments where you just know something that you didn't before. Business for the week of May 18th. When I tune into the energetics of business this week, I see a vision of this light bulb flickering on above someone's head, but it's not a regular light bulb. It's this neon, electric, slightly chaotic in the best way. This is a week of major mindset revelations and innovative downloads around your business, specifically tied to big life changes and new chapters you've been stepping into. The message coming through is that the old way of doing things isn't working anymore, and you already know it. There's tension between staying in the comfort zone of what's familiar and leaning into the breakthrough that's been knocking on your door. I also see this vision of a person looking at their to-do list, crossing something off that's been sitting there for weeks, the thing that you've been avoiding because it feels uncomfortable, but you know would change everything. Ask yourself, what's the conversation, decision, or pivot that I keep talking myself out of? Whatever surfaces, that's your assignment this week. The reward for moving through the discomfort is innovation, fresh ideas, and momentum you haven't felt in a while. Relationships for the week of May 18th. When I tune into the energetics of relationships this week, I see a vision of two people sitting across from each other at this small table, and there's this heavy book between them that's finally open and read together. This is a week where there may be difficult emotional conversation that's been sitting under the surface, the thing that you've been swallowing, the truth you've been afraid to say, the boundary you've been needing to set. And the message coming through is say it, even if your voice shakes, even if it's uncomfortable. The relief on the other side of the conversation is worth the temporary discomfort of having it. You may also be receiving clear intuitive downloads about your relationship and relationships, who's truly aligned with where you're going and who you're becoming, and where you've been holding on to a fantasy or an illusion of what something is rather than what actually is. Be honest with yourself. The quiet voice is telling you the truth, that still small voice within, so trust it. And remember, not every hard conversation ends a relationship. Many of them deepen it. But if it does shift something, trust that too, because realignment is a blessing. Health for the week of May 18th. When I tune into the energetics of health this week, I see a vision of someone with a soft glow around them, like this energetic bubble, and they're consciously choosing what gets to come in and what doesn't. This is a week to prioritize energetic boundaries and protection. You may feel extra sensitive, more emotional, more porous than usual, and that's not a weakness. It's an invitation to be intentional about what you're letting into your field. I also see the phrase, joy is medicine, highlighted in bold. The energetics this week want you to remember that play, laughter, creativity, and joy aren't extra. They are the medicine. They're literally what stabilizes your nervous system, it regulates your emotions, and keeps you committed to discipline for your new chapter. So ask yourself, what brings me genuine joy that I've been deprioritizing? What lights me up that I've been labeling as frivolous? There's also a beautiful release coming around perfectionism and self-criticism this week, and an old inner critic voice is being shown out the door. Be gentle with yourself, move your body in ways that feel good, rest when you need to, and don't forget to laugh. Wealth for the week of May 18th. When I tune into the energetics of wealth this week, I see a vision of someone holding two checks in their hands. One looks shiny and impressive on the outside. The other looks more humble, but feels warm and right when they hold it to their heart. This is a week of values-based financial clarity, where you're being shown what money decisions and opportunities are actually in alignment with who you're becoming versus what just looks good on paper. The message coming through is the most aligned wealth isn't always the loudest or the flashiest. Sometimes it's the path that feels true, even when others might not understand it. I also see breakthrough energy around your relationship with money. Old patterns, fears, or beliefs that have been quietly running the show in the background are now being illuminated so you can release them. Ask yourself, where am I making money decisions out of fear, illusion, or old programming? Where is my intuition pointing me that my logic has been overriding? This is the week to trust the voice within when it comes to your finances. Innovation, fresh ideas, and unexpected pathways to abundance are coming through, so stay open and receptive. Spirituality for the week of May 18th. When I tune into the energetics of spirituality this week, I see a vision of this veil being pulled back to reveal a portal of light. And I hear the words, "You've been ready for this for a while now." This is one of the most spiritually activating weeks that I have felt in a really long time. The downloads, the insights, the breakthroughs are pouring in for those who are tuned in and listening. The message coming through is to trust what you're receiving, even if it doesn't make logical sense yet. Even if it asks you to release something you thought you wanted. Even if it requires courage you didn't know you had. I also see that dreams may be especially vivid, symbolic, or meaningful this week, so keep a journal by your bed and write down what comes through, even if it's little fragments that you remember, because there's wisdom encoded in every one of them. Indulge in your favorite spiritual practices, get quiet, get still, and let yourself receive. The veil between illusion and truth is thinning this week, and what's been hidden is being revealed, and what's no longer aligned is being released. So surrender to the process. And legacy for the week of May 18th. When I tune into the energetics of legacy this week, I see a vision of a person standing at the edge of their comfort zone. And there's this beautiful field of wildflowers just on the other side. But they have to take one brave step to get there. This is a week where your comfort zone is being lovingly but firmly challenged. The thing you've been talking yourself out of, the bold move you've been postponing, the version of yourself you've been afraid to fully embody, the message coming through is to do the thing. Otherwise, life may literally force you into it anyway because your legacy is too important to be held back by fear. I also see innovation and breakthrough as themes here. The legacy you're building requires you to think differently than you've been thinking and to move differently than you've been moving. And even to trust differently than you've been trusting. Ask yourself, what's the one bold action this week that would move me closer to the legacy I'm building? Whatever surfaces, commit to it. Joy is part of your legacy too, so don't forget that. The version of you that fulfills your mission is also the version that's lit up, in love with life, and unafraid to play. There you have it, Hot Soul, your intuitive forecast for the week. Wishing you a week of honest revelations, joyful breakthroughs, and the courage to do the thing. Until next week.